What is going on? Welcome to Dharma Time here on WPSN99.com. As always, I'm joined with the Dope Doctor.
Yep.
And this other wonderful person next to me is Tatiana. I'm going to mess it up. I'm not even going to try it. I'm not even going to try
Sidorova.
See, I'll never be able to say it that good.
You will.
All right.
It's practice.
And she was the title I used, and she's got many of them, which is why she's on the show today, because she's extremely intrinsically driven. She's accomplished so much. The one I used when I promoted on the show was Mrs. Florida Globe 2018, right?
That's right.
And what are the other ones?
Well, the first one, and all my pageant, the whole pageant history is just 3 years. So just to let you know, it's not.
Wait a minute, you've accomplished all this in 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the first one was World's Most Beautiful Woman, then Mrs. Moldova World, where I placed second runner-up at Mrs. World in South Korea. Then was Mrs. Florida America 2017, where I placed in top 5 at Mrs. America in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Then was Mrs. Florida Globe, where I placed first runner-up in California last year.
Okay.
And then Mrs. Moldova, where I placed top 15 this last year in December in China.
Jeez. She's all over.
I hope I didn't miss anything.
It's such a long resume.
Wow.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's okay.
That's why we didn't know what to post.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do.
I just did Mrs. Florida Globe 2018.
It's
Which one
related
did you
to
do?
because
Yeah.
it's Florida.
But
We're
that's why there were so many to choose
Yeah,
from.
we picked
I
out
just
the Florida
figured
one.
It's Florida. We'll do Florida.
Florida, yeah.
That's what I picked.
It's related. Yeah.
Right? Like,
related to Florida.
Well, because I asked her to send me over something to put up, and it was like this like novel of things. I'm like,
yeah, exaggerating.
I don't know what to put. I don't know. So, anyways, so today's show.
Wait, before you start, wait a minute. She said one of the things. You said most beautiful woman. There's a title out there, most beautiful woman?
Was a competition.
Did you ever hear that, Trinity?
There was a competition, and actually it's the directors as well, Jackie Siegel.
Okay.
So that was her first year, and I was the first winner of that competition. And
That's a cool title.
That is a great title.
You know,
I would put that on my business card everywhere I went.
Right. I think I would just use that one.
Doesn't help. If people, you have to stay humble sometimes.
I'd have a shirt made.
I try not to put it there,
humble.
but hey.
You didn't win most humble.
Exactly.
You won most
Damn it.
beautiful.
Yeah. I'd have a shirt
All the
made.
makeup.
I'd have a whole suit made, but just so y'all know, that was my title.
It's like the most sexiest man alive. You know that what is it? A Time mag? No, it's not Time. Is it People?
Time
or is it
magazine.
Time?
I think it's Time magazine.
Yeah, sexiest man. If I won that ever,
Oh, dude, I'd have
Come
that
on.
framed. I'd have it sitting
Absolutely.
in every room in my house.
Absolutely.
Anyways.
I'll tell Dana she better keep her. You better do your thing.
You gotta do
I'm
your
the
thing.
sexiest man alive, girl.
That's right.
Hey, you just nominate yourself. That's all it matters.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I like the way you think.
So anyway,
Libra.
just for some background, I guess. It was it was like a month ago, I guess now, 2 months. How long ago was it we were at Jackie's party?
A month ago.
It was a month ago? Okay. So about a month ago, Jackie Siegel, good friend of ours, called us up and wanted us to come to her birthday and do radio stuff.
Yeah.
Essentially.
To do our show.
Yeah, and we were going to do the Couch Live, but we decided to kind of roll out or at least test another show called Living Life.
Right.
And while we were there, we met quite a few interesting individuals, but none of them that left the impact on us as Tatiana did.
Oh, I feel special.
She
for
came.
you.
She sat
really
down,
did.
and I think from the get-go, for me anyways, what struck me was just the humility when she came and sat down.
Mm-hmm.
She made a point of shaking everybody's hand, introducing everybody. It was very, very professional, very inclusive. I guess was the word I would use. Yeah. And that was cool. But the second she opened her mouth and she just started talking about all the different accolades and all the different things that she's involved with.
Right.
And then, obviously, her kids are most important. It was just, I think we walked away from there thinking, man, that's somebody special. Like it's amazing the accomplishments that were done, and the absurd amount of excuses that could be used that aren't. And I think that's the most interesting part, and that's what we kind of wanted to have a show on. We talked about trying to figure out a way to get you on the show, and so the topic I think we settled on was intrinsic drive.
I don't necessarily think we try to figure out a way to get her on the show. I think what we wanted to make sure is that it fit what we felt.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
no, it's just you really did make an impact on us.
I figured out a way to get her on the show because for me,
no, we were going to get her on the show. But what I'm saying is, you could fit on a lot of different kinds of shows. I mean, really, we were so what we had to figure out is, do we bring her on the Couch Live or do we bring her on Dharma Time? And I think we settled on Dharma Time, this particular show, because it was more broad.
Yeah.
And we wanted people to really hear what you have to say in regards to this topic.
Well, I think it fits because in today's world, everybody's got an excuse. Life is hard.
Yeah.
Life is difficult, and I think we all struggle with our own, top 10 list of things we're dealing with on a daily basis. And oftentimes we can find ourselves kind of in that pity me moment where it's like, well, I can't do this because this, or I can't do that because of that. I would do all this except for these. And I think your story to me was one of triumph. Your story was one of overcoming and like, you know what? Yeah, I could have excuses, but I don't look at them that way. I look at them as challenges to overcome it, and you did. And so I think that's the vibe we were trying to put out there, because I think that you exemplify that mentality.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, guys. Thank you. I kept absorbing all that good stuff right now. Keep going.
Yeah,
Just don't ask me
there you go.
anything. Just keep going.
I like it.
And you guys, and for the listeners, I'm gonna give her a chance to tell her story here in a minute, and you'll understand exactly why we said all that.
Right.
But I just want to give some background as to why you're here. I mean, yeah, the titles are great. Don't get me wrong; they're fantastic. Yeah. But we meet people with titles every day, but none of them that leave us with that kind of an impact.
And there was a lot of people with titles there.
Yeah,
at the party.
Everybody there had a title.
I think there was like 7 Mrs. Floridas there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, everybody there had a title. But the one we thought the most about afterwards was like, wow, man, that was really impressive, the story. So
thank you.
that is why she's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for thinking of me like that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
So speaking of that, if you don't mind, for our listeners who don't know you, can you share a little bit about your story, kind of where you come from, where you're at, and
Sure.
what makes you you?
Well, I came to U.S. 14 years ago, so I was 20. Now I'm 34. Just do your math right there. I'm not hiding my age. Because people are like, how old are you? No way. Yes, I'm 34. I came with $100 in my pocket. My English was, I guess, 20%. Now it's maybe 80, so you kind of see what I am. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have no transportation, no place to live. We came with a bunch of people, a bunch of students to work at Universal Studios. And, $100 for 2 weeks until you get the job, until you get that first paycheck.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Was a little
for 2 weeks.
tough, yes.
A little tough. That sounds impossible.
It's nothing. It's impossible. That's for sure. After that experience, that's why probably I go and, I'm a risk taker, and I am a huge believer that everything is possible. To survive with $100, you pretty much eat maybe a banana a day or yogurt a day or something like that.
Right.
And I have enough pride not to ask for money from back home, how they call it in my country.
Right.
I was lucky and blessed enough that in a group of people that we were, there was some other people that had a little extra money.
Oh, right.
So I had to borrow, and I have to figure it out things, and you have to work it thing. You cannot just sit down and cry about it. You just have to figure things out.
Was it a work visa?
Oh, yes. A student visa, I'm sorry.
Student visa.
Very cool. And then, so talk about Moldova, because that's where you're from, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Really?
No, before
It's
you,
one
I've
of
never
the-
heard it. You knew about it?
Yeah, I've heard of Moldova.
Well, you were an A student.
Yeah,
Yeah, not me.
Oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very small country. It's between Ukraine and Romania, right in the middle of those two.
Okay.
So in my country, they do speak Romanian. That's the official language. And some part speaks Russian. I'm actually originally Russian, but I was born there. And so even my last name, it's not Romanian. I'm not related to Romanian. But I learned language, the culture, and everything I love about it. But it's a very good country. Unfortunately, it's poor, has a lot of problems, political, economical, and it's really tough to live there. So I'm glad that I kind of escaped, and United States now is my home.
Right
and
Why do you say escape? Why do you say escape?
That word
Escape?
stuck
Yeah,
with me
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Because there's no future there. You study, education-wise, and then you have your degree, but then there's no jobs, or if there's a job, it's low paid. So it's not really, you have to know people that know people.
Right.
It's a very small country. It's probably right now 3 million. So it's all about connections. And if you don't know anybody, you don't have a future. Or if you're married a rich guy, then you have a future. So it's like, extremes. It's an extreme country, I guess. And a lot of people escaping from there. So
Really?
literally, because they're looking for a better future, better life.
Right.
And when I came here, I realized, what, this is probably my home. I felt it like this is my home. I still feel this is my home. And it's honestly one of the best countries to live. I'm coming from a very poor country, and America, it's seriously, it's the best. I mean, I don't know. I'm very patriotic now.
Yay.
Hello.
Yeah, he's got his
Citizens.
USA
Hey, me
shirt
too.
on.
Citizens.
Me too. I got my
There you
USA
go.
shirt.
I have my Mrs. Glow, but
So
Same
is
thing.
that,
I'm Mr. USA.
it's the same.
So is that so would you say, is that the vibe of a lot of people over there that want to get out or want to go to America? Or?
A lot of them, not all of them. I cannot, put a whole
Of
in
course.
one pot, but yes, a lot of them, they do leave and they want to progress. So this is a country for progress. There's a country of possibilities.
Yeah.
American dream is real. I think I'm an example of American dream.
Yeah.
That a person that just came with nothing and now have titles and this and that, and I think, this is the country.
I like
That's
that.
incredible.
And so, okay, so talk to us about the what I want to know is the journey, man. Just the mindset, because I was born in America, obviously, so the idea of striving to go elsewhere because I don't feel like there's opportunity is kind of foreign to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about a lot of our listeners feel the same way. They're not really, they don't kind of comprehend that. So like the day-to-day grind of like, I got to get out of here. Like, talk to me a little bit about that. Like what, that mindset, waking up with that and keeping you going. Because I got to assume it's hard. I got to assume there's days where you're like, dude, is this ever going to happen?
Mm-hmm. So, well, I'm coming from a suppressed country, right? It used to be a communism, I'm not one of
it was part of Russia, right?
It's part of Russia, yes.
So that's probably what it was
Russia,
when I was young.
It's not Russia,
was it
but
USSR
it was
no?
occupied by Russia.
Okay.
So it's if you say to Moldavian people that there used to be Russia, they're going to get very upset.
Really?
Yes. So do not go
Well,
there.
how old is
Stop pissing
Moldavia?
people off, Louis.
I just
91,
can't.
91
see,
they got
why.
independence.
That's why I didn't know the country. See, I stopped school in '87. You can't blame me. There
They
was
still
no
have
such
things
thing.
like current events, like news.
That's not a current event that I'm going to
Really?
get pick up on.
You didn't know when the Yugoslavia stopped and everything?
Yeah,
else
yeah,
too?
but there's it became a lot of that whole area became a lot of different countries when the USSR disbanded, when it was no longer USSR, and therefore that's a lot of countries. So unless they did something wrong or blew up or had some sort of crisis, no.
Or an independence, maybe?
It's okay. Now he learned. Now, thanks to me, a
There
lot
you
of
go.
more people know about Moldova because I have so many questions. Trust me, another one.
I really
only
appreciate
one.
it. Yeah.
We didn't know about Moldova, so now I have to.
It's new places
I
to want to go
had a chance
visit.
to educate
Yes.
people about another country they've never heard about.
And that's
There
why
you
you're
go.
Mrs. Globe and Mrs. Moldova.
Moldova.
That's your
Not
job.
Globe. Globe is the company.
See, I was thinking globe is in world. I didn't think it was a company.
It is a globe, but it's a. Oh my God, I'm like having a blonde moment right now. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Pageant system.
I have blonde
okay.
moments all the time, and I'm not even blonde.
I'm happy you understand me. It's a pageant system.
Okay.
So pageant system is Mrs. Globe, and
Right
I'm
on.
part of it as representing
Okay.
my country.
Oh, very cool. So continue.
So the drive,
just the day-to-day grind of just like, all right, I'm assuming, what I picture, I guess, what they show in the movies anyways, of somebody struggling, hustling, and saving up money every day with this idea of like, I'm going to go, and so talk to us about that and just the mindset of just waking up every day and doing the grind.
Right.
Well, again, speaking of how we're coming from the suppressed countries, for example, in schools or in kindergarten, when we are taking pictures, we were not supposed to smile.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There's like a rule against smiling.
Yes, you can't smile. You have to be serious.
Wow.
Since I was a Russian person, the only one probably in school, but in my class as well, teachers hated me because
They hated you?
Yeah, they had this Russian conflict, and they just really hated the Russian.
You're a minority.
Nationality, whatever, because of the communism and all this history, right? So
Interesting.
actually, teachers were treating me bad. And if they hear an accent, they would say like, go sit on the last bench. We don't want to hear you.
Wow.
So I grew up a lot of like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't express myself. I couldn't be me. Thanks God to my classmates that really helped me through the years. Otherwise, I don't know what I would do. My parents, again, did not speak Romanian. So I struggled through all the years, so 12 years in school, learning things because there was no help. I couldn't come and say, hey, Mom, what is this word and this? And they're like, I don't know. So
Wow.
it
So
was
what did you do? How did you learn them?
I just always reach out to my classmates. I ask them questions. And, can you help me here? Can you help me there? And the teachers, they knew that I'm seeking help, and they were against that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So when people talk about oppression, you really
Yeah.
understand oppression.
Yes.
That's the kind of oppression like my kids are always, I'm oppressed. No, you're not.
Yeah, not that kind of oppression.
No, not that kind of oppression.
So yeah, and then I'm glad actually that happened because it motivated me to be better, to prove myself. And by the end of the year, that when that teacher said, I don't want to hear you anymore, or I don't want to hear you for the rest of the year,
Right.
she actually put me in as example because I did not have an accent by the end of the year. And like, well, look at this one, and I'm like, yeah, there, this sarcasm was
Right.
there already.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, right. Look at her, and so I was like, somebody to look up to, like, even though she is a person we don't like, but look at her, what
Wow.
she does.
Like a backhanded compliment
yeah,
right there.
I'm like, here we go again.
Jeez.
But yeah, and that helped me out, to build my personality, to be a stronger person. And when I came to this country, actually I felt so welcome, even though my English was not great. Everybody was so helping and so, whenever you need, they'll understand you. And I'm like, wow, this is completely different what I grew up with. And I just love the way people were here,
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to be suppressed anymore. I don't want to be, I don't know. I want to have a freedom of speech. I want to express myself. And right now, through the years, 14 years, now I'm in radio shows. I do different radio shows almost every week, and people don't care about my accent. People don't judge, and if they do, I really don't care anymore.
Right.
Let them be. I'm not gonna get rid of my accent as much as I try, and I really don't try.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, and
How did you know about us? How did you know about the United States and the opportunity here?
Well, movies. Obviously, a lot of people traveling and coming back and
With
tell
stories?
us with stories, and of course, television. Television was the one.
So you did have television,
of course.
And well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, in when we'd go to Mexico, we had like one channel or two channels, and so a lot of the shows that I watched were actually they were American shows. But they were dubbed, like they would speak Spanish.
Yes.
Like you would have the, hey, ¿qué pasó?
Yeah.
Knight Rider. And I grew up watching Knight Rider in Spanish.
Right.
Right?
Same thing in Russian.
Yeah. So everybody knows David Hasselhoff because he translated in every language. No, seriously. Knight Rider was a big show.
Yes, they do translate in
but it was one
language.
channel. And all the others, typically, like in other countries, there's certain shows that everybody watches.
Yep.
And when I mean everybody, I mean everybody.
Right.
True.
So that's why I didn't know how many.
Yes, there was one or two channels with American movies.
Wow.
Right.
But the common movie, not all of them. So every time I come to a radio show or in general an environment of a lot of American-speaking people, and they're like, "Oh, did you see this show? Did you see?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, now you have like thousands of shows.
I'm like, "No," but it's an old one. I'm like, "Well, I know it's old shows that were watched here, but we did not have it there."
Right.
They're like, "Oh, you don't know that show? It's so famous." I'm like, "No."
No, and
whatever
but Knight Rider.
That's funny.
There's
Knight
certain
Rider
shows
made it everywhere.
Well, there's certain shows that I think that they just marketed really well for outside the country.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just saying.
Hasselhoff was huge overseas anyway.
But that's why.
Yeah.
Because they took that show and they made it
He was
global.
a rock star in Germany as well.
Yeah. They made that
is
show global,
weird.
which allowed him to be a rock star in Germany.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But I know we've all kind of overcome our own things. I know for me, my motivation was more of a like an anger kind of motivation. Like I want to prove you wrong, or I want to overcome and show you that type of stuff. Was it similar to you? Was like growing up? Was that kind of what your motivation was?
It was, yes.
I can imagine
prove
that.
myself,
Yeah.
yes. Become someone, leave something behind me, a legacy, something that people like, oh, you know what? We knew her. She did something right, or she motivated me. She changed my life. Something like that I'm striving for. And I was able to achieve some of them, which is, great because life has a purpose, and I found my purpose. I have a motivation, and if I don't have a motivation, I find it, like I'm looking for it. Okay, what's next? If I done things that I want to do, I'm always looking for something else, and something else is usually very challenging. It's usually complicated, impossible, or something that like, okay, I need to learn something to be able to achieve that. So it's growing, and I just want to grow as a person. Again, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, but there's certain things I want to be good at, and I'm striving for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know for me and a lot of people I talk to, I think our motivation changes over the years.
Yes.
Like my motivation when I was younger I was very angry and very wanted to, the odds were stacked against me when I was a kid. I didn't grow up in that kind of an oppressive system, I guess, but I mean, I had my own issues, interfamily conflict and whatnot, and I grew up thinking, nobody's gonna take my power from me, and I'm gonna show you. And then I kept that all the way to like my mid to late 20s, and then I finally my motivation switched then to more of a I want to be happy. I want to find my place to where I can kind of find my peace, if you will.
Yes, that is the most important thing. And actually, I'm reading the book right now. You probably know about The Power of Now.
It sounds familiar. I don't know if I've read it or not, but it
yes,
sounds
I mean,
I definitely never read it, but I heard about
It's
it.
completely related to your show. So I'm listening. I don't watch TV, by the way, so I listen to it every night.
That's true now. Jesse said he didn't watch TV either. I'm sorry, dude.
It's the millennials. She must be a millennial.
I can't live without my TV, man.
Yeah, it's I either exercise. I try to run. Right now, I didn't run for 2 weeks, but I run every day for 5 to 7 miles. Work, kids. There's a lot of things you can focus on. And TV, it's such a huge distraction. There's so much negativity there. Commercials, food, makes me hungry. Like,
I feel you.
I was at somebody's house, like, wow, there's so much commercial. I haven't watched TV in years. I mean, if I want to watch a show, I go on Netflix, which is also rare.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm hooked to this book because it gives me growth. TV doesn't give you growth. It's growth. It's kind of down.
Do you go watch movies?
I haven't been in a movie theater in quite some time. I don't know. But Netflix works for me. Okay. And I always trying to find something positive to watch or something more educational, something to learn from.
Wow.
Things like that.
Right.
So.
Is that Marissa just commented? Is that Eckhart Tolle? The Power of Now? Is that who?
No. I'll give you the name exactly who is the author. And actually, somebody gave me this as a gift. It's and God help me read his name because Eckhart Tolle. Yeah.
Okay.
You see, I'm bad with the way you pronounce it. Eckhart. Because I'm not sure if it's the way it sounds or pronounced, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, Eckhart Tolle was
Tolle, yeah.
What I like about him is he is essentially Buddhist without being Buddhist. He
exactly.
doesn't. I don't think he refers to himself as that, but he references it a lot in his books and stuff. I mean, I do have his books. I haven't read them yet, but I do have them. I know a lot about what he's doing. I think Oprah originally kind of put him out on the scene, if you will. But for me, that's what changed my motivation, to be honest with you. Was my motivation early on was anger and rage and kind of getting back at everybody. And then once I found spirituality, I personally am an atheist. I don't know how much of the show you've seen, but I'm an atheist myself, but I needed something bigger than myself. I needed spirituality of some sort. And I didn't realize peace is what I was missing. And so when I started to get some of that peace, it was the philosophy of Buddhism that got that to me. And so now my motivation has changed to just being happy.
Well, we're sharing the same exact spirituality, I guess.
Right on.
So when I read a little bit about your radio stations and your topics, I'm like, okay, this is perfect because I can relate to a lot of topics, and I can really, people sometimes say I'm too deep, but I'm like, why not? Exactly. I don't talk about lipsticks and
TV, that's
whatever
why.
Because
Apparently.
I like to talk with people about more depth about life, about expectations or no expectation. What are your expectations? And I like I do pageant coaching now, right? So when a woman comes to me that wants to compete in the pageant, sometimes like, okay, I don't know what to wear, I don't know what to talk, I don't know how to speak on stage, I don't know what to say. And I've noticed there are a lot of them that they have a script, they read and they memorize. And I said, I usually say, forget about that. Let's do something else. So what I do, I dig deep in their soul. That's how I call it. I make them cry. I make them crash. And
You're
then
hurting people. I make them cry.
Yes. I don't know why. I mean, I talk to them so deep that they start crying and they start sharing things with me that they say they never share with other people, and they break down. And then I said, now you can talk. Yeah. Now speak from your heart. And that's what I said, you can compete in a million pageants. It's not the point. I mean, to me, the pageant was discovering myself, finding who I am, finding my strengths, my weaknesses, because we all have that. And, and again, focus on the strength. Don't focus on the weaknesses. And a lot of women come to me, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, and that one is better, and that one is better. I'm like, why are we focusing on somebody else when we should focus on you? So my main thought and my main, I guess, takeaway with everybody that comes to coach with me is speak from your heart. And they said sometimes they say, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to speak, how to answer a question. I said, there's always an answer when you speak from your heart. And if there is no answer, say, I don't know.
Right.
You be real, and you don't have to have an answer for everything. You're not God. You're not, I don't know who.
That is so
you cannot
huge.
just, know everything.
How many times have we said that? Like, too many people are afraid to just say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you
It's
on that
okay
one.
to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay not to be okay. There's so many, people are so self-centered sometimes. They do want to break that and get out of it. And I've seen so many people are so closed. They have so much ego sometimes.
Right.
And, I try to drop everything that's, negative and ego and all these little things that backing me up to be who I am. Stopping me who I am. And I always, like, every morning I wake up and I read something motivational, something spiritual, something, good, like, what can I do today, to help others or motivate others. And
well, I have to admit something, because I'm one of those individuals that I did I didn't know much about pageants. I still don't know a lot about pageants.
I still don't know much
That's
about
okay.
But
I
what
didn't know either.
I don't know for the demographic, though.
I don't
right,
really
but
know
here's
either.
what I did feel that I knew is that the way you just described people reading something and just like going for a cause but not really being in the cause. In other words, I didn't have the great impression of it other than these were very beautiful women, right? Whereas now that we've known some Trinity and especially after communicating with some of you, like on a deeper level. And then last night I was on the phone with the current reigning Mrs. America. What I've learned is you guys, the winners in the pageants, are nothing what you guys would think they are.
No.
Because the winners, the Mrs. Americas that I've known and talked to, Renee, Nicole last night, the people that have won different levels of pageants, the way you've won pageants, the winners are actually nothing like what I thought.
Yeah.
They are truly the real deal. When they say they're for a cause or they want to communicate a cause, you guys are so well spoken.
Yes.
You explain it very well, and you are deep and real. And I think that I'm going to be listening a lot more to people like you. But it's because
I take it more seriously now than I did.
I've listened to
Well,
you.
there's
You know what
women.
I mean?
There's women that go in pageants for the wrong reasons. So
I guess
why
that's
we
what I'm
have that
saying.
name.
Yeah, I think
I guess
what I
that's
focused
what I'm
on.
saying. Is
And
that
there's one that looking for something else. So there's nobody perfect and there's no perfect world, right? But when I go and compete nationally,
Right.
internationally, right, I get to stick, I guess, to those women that are deep.
right.
I don't know how to, and then we communicate and we
Right.
open up and we share so many things and stories and life,
Right.
stories and struggles, and you'll be surprised. There's so much in there because what we see, it's pictures, glam, dress, makeup,
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah, well,
you
that's
know,
The
all that-
swimsuit competition as a
Yes.
kid. I
Well,
got to
it's
be
gone
honest.
now,
I mean,
I guess.
yeah, it's gone.
So it's understandable.
Well, in that
why.
particular,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then to get into that swimsuit, it's a whole journey.
No,
So
cool, I
nobody
know.
knows, of course. They just see
Right,
this
right, right,
beautiful
right.
woman and like,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
And they weren't always beautiful. They have insecurities. They,
Yeah.
my nose, my ears, my face. I was called ugly as a child. I was called dumb. And so all that perseverance, all that same stuff that we talk about on this show on Dharma
I know
Time.
for me, that was my
What, you were called ugly? You weren't beautiful?
that was my awakening, I guess. Was as a kid, I didn't really watch pageants and stuff like that. I mean, they would come on TV occasionally. I would flip through
Right.
channels. I would see it.
Yeah, my
It was-
parents watch it.
It was nothing I was never really interested in. But if I'm honest, I absolutely had my own perspective.
Right.
And it wasn't. I'm not gonna say it was a low perspective, but it wasn't a respectful one. I was just like, whatever.
It wasn't what it is now.
Correct. After meeting, what I will say is everyone that I've met that's been through a pageant,
Right.
We Tatiana, we got Renee, we got Jackie, we got even Allison from ARS.
Oh, that's right. Allison's another one.
They're all very well spoken, very intelligent, very powerful women.
Right.
And so it's like, whoa, wait a minute, like there's something to this.
There's no joke.
There's also
Yeah.
another thing. Whatever you see on TV, it's Miss. So,
Yeah.
age-wise and mind-wise, I guess.
Right.
Sometimes also it's not there yet. Not that they're,
Right, oh, I got
they're not
you.
smart or anything.
Right,
They
right.
have been through different things and
Right.
stages of life. Right now that we were talking about, it's Mrs. So it's,
That's right.
business
different.
women, moms,
A different
wives,
focus, I bet. Yeah.
different life journeys, different experiences. So it changes a lot.
Right.
When you talk to a teen
Yeah.
or a miss or a missus, it's completely different.
Right. Well, Allison
Dynamic.
was a miss.
Yeah, Allison was Miss, I believe.
But she's older now. She has children now.
She
So
could be the missus now.
So maybe, yeah. Now she
could
could
be.
be Mrs.
You never know.
Yeah,
You
maybe
never know.
maybe she should compete again.
Maybe she
So
should.
what?
It's always good. It's like a sport, It's not about it is a sport.
You see that competitive look in her eyes?
It's a sport.
Jesse is in the studio.
Yeah,
Jesse came
Our
back.
athlete,
It's
he
a
is here.
competition at the end of the day. It's the only one winner, and I was lucky enough to be in the top every time I compete, and it was huge, especially for Mrs. America. I mean, that's the toughest competition known in the pageantry world, and I was in top 5.
Right.
When they call my name, I'm like, are you serious?
Wow.
Because there's so many powerful women out there. There's 52 women and statewide.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, they're like I made it,
Right.
and
Right on.
there's so many awesome women behind me, and I
Right.
actually made it
That's-
through that. Like
That's
you know,
the recent one, the Vegas one.
That's the Vegas
The one with-
last year.
oh, last year.
2017
Okay.
Las
Okay.
Vegas. Yes.
Okay.
In Mrs. America.
I bet you that has to be such a high,
It is.
It has
such
to
a
be.
rush,
And the stage and
such
everything.
validation. That,
Yeah, I think that's the word.
All the hard work that I put into it
Yes.
is
and
for this moment,
a lot of
this kind of
women,
moment.
the stories, to be in that swimsuit, it takes a lot of courage to show off your body after kids. And there were moms of 7, there were moms of 10, there were women that survived cancer. There was women that had 5 heart surgeries. There were women that had gosh, what else? She was a surrogate mother of her brother.
Wow.
So it's eighth child. She gave it to her brother. The 8th children. I don't even know how to say
crazy.
that. So there's so many
After
stories.
you start giving them away.
Yeah, right.
It is
Brady wants to give away that
You
6th
take
Super
it.
Bowl ring.
You take it.
but yeah, I mean, there's so much story,
Sure.
so much, behind the scenes stuff, what's
Absolutely.
happening behind the love that we share with those women, the stories, and at stage, it's just a performance. It's a show, and I mean, it's exciting, and why not?
What I want to know is, now that we're talking about some of this stuff, how do you keep from having the, or maybe you do, I don't know, the mindset of looking at some of the issues that people complain about these days, compared to what maybe you've gone through with we already talked about some of the oppression, because I know sometimes even me now, like I look at my kids and they're complaining about stuff. Like my kids will complain that like they don't have Wi-Fi on their iPad or something. Like, are you kidding me, man? Like when I was a kid, I was going through this.
Yeah.
And so we're always saying that there's always somebody's got it worse than you, kind of a thing.
Always.
There's always that one person
Always.
that has it worse than everybody. So like, how do you keep from having that kind of mindset sometimes with some of these people? You're like, are you kidding me?
I'm trying
couldn't
to
even
be,
speak.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to be very understandable with people because I know everyone has a story and everybody has a why. And everybody has their own, journey. And every time that somebody's telling me things like that, I listen. I'm a very good listener. I try to relate to them if I can, and if I cannot relate to their story, I just understand them, where they're coming from.
Right.
And that's how people, feel comfortable. And
Sure.
and sometimes you don't have to, why would you compare your life with somebody else's life? They have their own thing. I have my own thing. Maybe mine was harder, but why everybody has to have the same, right? So yeah, I have more experience in certain ways. Yeah, I got more tough
Right.
than everybody else, but that's my problem. That's my life. I don't put myself like, oh no, honey, you don't know anything. I've been through this and this and that,
Right.
and stop talking to me. Like that kind of attitude. No, I mean, she has her issues, and
Right.
she has her thing. We're not here to judge. I'm trying not to be,
Right on.
judging, and it's understanding. It's all about understanding where that person is coming from.
Right.
And like even to my kids, they complaining this and this and that, and I always try to say the same thing. You know what? Other children don't have, so we are blessed. You guys
Right.
are blessed. And if somebody else says something like, like how can I get through that, conversation with
Right.
somebody, like I have through this. And
Right.
now if they get too annoying and they're complaining too much, I have to I
Crack the
might
whip a little
step
bit.
in a
That's
little
where
bit.
you
I'm
do the
like,
wave. That's where you do the
Yes.
practice wave.
Understanding and everything, but then people complain about sometimes things that like really
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah,
are
I
we
know.
gonna really complain about that? And sometimes you have to remove yourself from that conversation if it's too toxic and
Right.
negative, and whatever you say is not helping them understand, like
Yeah.
you're not the only one, there's more people suffering or whatever the case is, then you might want to remove yourself.
Well-
Because sometimes no matter what you say to that people, no matter what
It's
you
not
tell
gonna go
them,
anywhere.
Well, they
it's
don't wanna
not
hear
gonna,
it.
they have that mindset
That's
and
not where they're at
nothing
on their
can
journey.
change. Exactly. Now me, I'm trying to bring light to their spirit. I'm trying to bring light to their mind. If it doesn't work, then it's not my place to give the light.
I got a question with that, Trinity and Tatiana, because I think there's people out there, because of the way you look, because you're a very attractive person, that
Thank
when
you.
you talk oppression and the fact that you are white-skinned, okay, that sometimes people can't fathom you having oppression. Or because of the way, again, you're blonde, blue-eyed, or is it blue or green?
I don't know.
Bluish, right?
Blue-green.
I think they're blue-green. So blonde, blue-eyed, white skin. It's very hard for people of color or of any other nationality to really think that you understand oppression. So how do you deal with that when in today's world, like Melania gets a lot of smack? I mean, people talk a lot of smack towards Melania Trump because people can't fathom her ever having oppression because they see her as this billionaire wife.
Right.
And again, now it makes sense why she doesn't smile a lot, right? Because she comes from a country where that's not the norm as well.
Yep.
That's crazy. I never knew that. You weren't
So
one
how do you
of those.
respond to that? Because that has to come up quite often. There's a lot of people that think there's no way that you had oppression. Look at the way you look. Like everybody. Of course you could come here to the United States with $100 and survive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are probably throwing money at you.
Right.
How do you respond to that?
You know, sometimes you don't have to respond.
Right.
Sometimes
right
you
there.
just have to, you know, if somebody really wants to know you, they will get a chance to know you and to talk to you and to see that's not, it's not truth. You know, she actually a human. She has problems. She has struggles. People don't throw money at her. You know, it is what it is. Some people will see me the way they want to see me based on what their perception is, and I cannot change people's perception. So I don't really trying to convince people, look at me,
Right.
you know.
And you don't get offended that they think that way.
I don't, because I used to. Don't take me wrong.
Okay.
I used to. I'm like, oh my God, why they think of me like that and this and that. And then I was like, and why do I care what people think?
There you go.
You know, it's me. If you want to know me, you will know me.
Right.
And I have friends that really know me the way I am. And sometimes that's enough. The small circle is enough. Whoever wants to know more about me, they can come to me, they can talk to me, and they will see that, you know, I am not just a perfect picture or that blue, blonde, whatever.
Well,
you know, I'm more than that. And if somebody wants to come and really find out, then more than welcome.
I brought that up, Trinity, because Dana suffers a little bit of that. I mean,
Right.
she doesn't come from another country and oppression and all that stuff, but her being a blonde, blue-eyed, very attractive woman, I find a lot of people say things to her that are very offensive to her, and she'll tell me privately, but it's like people just think, oh, well, Dana, you know, because she's
I mean, in
attractive,
today's
she's
climate, I
blonde,
hear
she's
it.
white, she doesn't
you know
feel
what
the
she
same
has to
way.
do?
You know
Rock it.
Yeah,
Be
well, she
it.
does.
Be it.
Yes.
Because whoever said that, whoever, you know, it's that.
Yeah.
You know, people see you the way they want to see themselves, and they kind of confused. Like they want whatever negativity they have inside of them, they want to throw at
That's
that
theirs.
person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So why pay attention to that? Like I completely, like if somebody comes to me and said, "Oh my God, Tatiana, I heard something about you," I'm like, I don't want to know. I do not want to know. I don't want to hear.
Oh, well, there goes the third segment.
I do not want to go there because I really don't care. I am me. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. If I do, then it's something for me to prove, you know. So this is the mindset that I live by, and that's, you know, gives me such a release every day that I don't have to be somebody that people want to see, you know, or prove me this or prove me that. Or
Right.
Well, that's the piece.
I do whatever, exactly.
peace.
I found my peace. I found my moment. You know, I'm a very happy, generally happy person. And if I'm not happy, I remove myself from unhappy moments. And if I have to disconnect myself from certain people to be happy, I will do it. And like I've disconnect myself, and they're like, "Oh, why you don't talk to this person? Or why don't you talk to this person?" It doesn't give me any good, and I'm okay removing. There's so many people out there that you know maybe are like me, willing to share good stuff between, and then why would I focus on my attention to somebody's negative? And I don't know.
Well, I think
That's just mine.
For me,
mindset.
when it comes to intrinsic drive, like I said, that's where I'm at now in my life. Is what drives me, and what it sounds like drives you as well. And even, you know, Jesse, who's over here, kind of some of this, and he came back, but we did a show with him on Perseverance.
Jesse Awuchi.
Yeah. Is that peace? I think we have collectively, we reached a point in our lives where we're at peace. We're good. Like I like where I'm at. I like what I'm doing. I feel content, and I want to maintain that.
Exactly.
No matter at what cost, I'm going to maintain that.
And sometimes if you have that unhappy moment as well, understanding that it's okay not to have a happy moment.
Right.
It's okay not to be happy 24/7. Like
Well,
you
I'm not
have
happy
ups and
24/7.
downs and
Yeah.
things like that. But when you know that what you strive for is happiness, then nothing really can bother you anymore.
Right. And that's what I was going to say, because when you say that, you know, I feel that. But on top of that, when I have unhappy moments or moments that are like, I'm not in my chi, you know, like the world, I'm really upset right now. I'm not upset at being upset now.
Yeah.
I know that that's going to end as well.
Yeah.
I'm not upset at being sad right now because I know that's going to end. And because I've had so many times where I've processed through it. So I know I'm going to process through it. I just got to do what I do.
I think
so that's the other the other positive. You know you're going to have another victory.
Well, I think the biggest part is that processing through it.
Yeah.
Is I know that for me that's what the drive is. It's just like my drive used to be, you know, either proving people wrong or obtaining things. Like that was my drive, was this.
Right.
To whereas now my drive is happiness.
Right.
And so being the fact that that's my drive, kind of all this intrinsic stuff that we're talking about just makes sense to do. You know, like cutting people out if you need to, not taking things seriously, not focusing on it, because that doesn't help my goal at all.
What I understood is like the control part. There's some things we don't have control and we
Yes.
really want to control, and that that's like makes people being stuck.
That's frustrating.
And oh my God, I need to do this, and sometimes I realize as well, thanks God, like I don't have control over everything, and it's okay if it's not gonna happen, because again, it's not in my control. I cannot do anything. So whatever it is, it is. And I actually have a moment yesterday with the bank, and in a situation I was frustrated, and then at some point I cut myself, and I'm like, you know what? I told this person, it is what it is.
That's my favorite phrase, man.
It's hanging in my house.
Nothing I can do at this moment. So why would I stress about? I just release myself. I was thank you for your time. Thank you. It's just realizing, and that book, by the way, it's amazing. It was given to me by this very known photographer, John Maple. I don't know if you heard about him. He's amazing.
Maplethorpe.
Yep.
I heard of that one.
So he, we were talking about something, a photo shoot that I'm gonna have, and he's like, "You need to get that book." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Right.
I'm all into that, and this is my gift to you. So the next day, he actually sent him this ebook. He's like, you gotta listen to this. He listens for years, and now I'm listening. I'm almost over with it, but it's like, wow, I can relate here. I can relate. Oh, I did that. I did this. I did that. Okay, I'm on the right path, actually. Okay, this book was made for me. So now I recommend everyone. I'm not one of those like, read this book and that book and this book, like none of that. But that really kind of, we can all relate here with the topics
Absolutely.
that we speak. I'm like, wow, that's actually. I'm a perfect time and perfect.
Well,
place
obviously,
right now.
we believe in the power now. The foundation is called the Now Matters More Foundation.
That's what I said. Is that related to that?
It's all the way. No, we were here first.
Yeah. I guess what advice would you give people? An adult. Let's start out with adults, because we'll get to kids in a second. But as an adult, somebody comes up to you and you hear people complaining about, once again, I can't do this because of that. I can't, because I hear it all the time. I mean, I see it posted on Facebook all the time. People who are basically blaming all their problems and issues on everybody else, and using those as reasons why they can't achieve what they want to achieve. What do you tell those people? Like, what's your advice to them?
Well, there's a lot of advice that I can give, and a lot of people coming to me asking me, how do you do this or do that? It's knowing what you want. If you really want something, in my case, there's nothing can stop me. So I always tell people, if you really want something, just do it. Nothing can stop you. There's, forget about the excuses, forget about the issues, forget about the problems. If you want something, focus on it. Make it possible. And after you achieve that, they'll give you motivation for the next one.
Damn
and
straight.
they go one after another. You cannot achieve all at the same time. Take one thing at the time. What I do, my recommendation is write things down.
Yes.
Do the top 7 things. Do the top 14 things and write exactly what you want, and then cross one by one. You cannot achieve everything at the same time, one by one. And I wrote down 7 things this year. We're in February, already done almost everything.
You
So
gotta get a bigger list, man.
Yeah.
only
Vision boards
7
work.
things. Only
Vision
7
boards
things.
work.
Because you focus. If you lose focus, then you're all over the place. So you focus, you know what you want, and you go for it. There's nothing literally can stop you. And I'm a true believer. Like Mrs. Florida, for example, I wanted to win. I didn't won the first year. Like, I'm going to do this next year. And I am going to win that. And I'm going to do everything possible. But then again, in my mind, understanding, if not, I did what I did.
Right.
I did my best.
Right.
I put everything that I got there. And if it's not the year, well, there's another year again. But you do it. You grow and you put yourself out there. There's challenges you achieve. And every time you achieve, every time you get through that challenge, you realize, like, oh my God, actually, I was able to do this and that. Okay, I think I might do this and now this. Okay. So you kind of like build yourself and you grow as a human. And that's what we should strive. We should strive for growth. We should strive for positive mindset, and be happy. That's the main thing we live for. That's what we're here for, I think.
Right on.
I like it. I like it.
I'm glad you like it.
What's funny part though is a lot of that is something that's
That
going to
was
come
like-
up later.
yeah,
It's
that was-
it's interesting to me. It's almost like she cheated, man.
I
She
cheated.
did.
I'm so sorry. I'm a cheater.
She's a cheater.
No, but I mean, I think we're all kind of on the same page with that one. And that is focusing on what you want, man. And the problem is, I think a lot of people don't know what they want.
Exactly.
Like, I know for me, I didn't know I wanted peace. I really didn't.
And you know what? It's okay.
Yeah. No,
It's
that's
okay not to
fantastic.
know, because we also get frustrated. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. It's okay not to know what you want. What you have to do is sit down, meditate, focus, see what you like, what your passion is, what your purpose is. And if you don't have it, try to think about it. It's in your head anyways.
Yeah, you're the only one that has the answer.
Exactly. It's in your head. Process it. See what you're good at or what you're not good at, and see what you want to focus on. And if there's something that you're not good at and you want to be better, focus on that. If there's something that you're good at and you want to push that, towards that, then do that. I mean, there's so many things we can talk about. Unfortunately, we have an hour, I know. But
we only have that now. We only got like 6 minutes.
I can give a lot of advice, and I advise a lot of women when they come to me, and they come for one thing, and I twist everything, and they go like, okay, this is like completely going not what we're expecting. We're expecting the walking and the waving, and I'm like, nope, that's the wrong place, guys.
That's all I got down is the wave.
Yeah,
and even then, I probably do it wrong.
I told you what you want. Now I'm
I
gonna
am
tell you
sure
what
I
you
do.
need.
Yes, so
It's awesome.
finding yourself, knowing what you want, go for your dreams, and if you don't have dreams, create a dream, and it's easy. It's what you want. I mean, you're a human. You have so many things going on in your life. And a lot of things, what I notice is people focus on their past.
Yeah.
And they bring the past with them, that whole
Everywhere.
luggage, and talk about the bad and the things that they've been through and la la la. It's just like, oh my God, just why don't you focus on now and future? Well,
Now
maybe you
matters
cannot
more.
really.
They're like a hoarder.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
hoard
It's
feelings.
like it's easy
And then
visually
just-
to know when someone's hoarding, but a lot of you are hoarding
Yes.
all your past pains and all your past failures, and you're just hoarding them. It's like they don't even do you any good anymore. Like maybe they were useful at one point in time to be motivated for the next step, but once you
learn.
achieve that next step, okay, get rid of the hoarding.
Yeah.
You've already beat that.
I
You've
will
already
use
accomplished
that. I will use you have to use the past
Yes.
to have a lesson and something that you learn from. I've
Right.
learned that in the past. I'm not gonna do this again, but do not bring that.
No.
You already
Yeah.
learned.
No.
Stop. Get the lesson.
Right.
Move on.
Because now that victory becomes the next motivation. I can achieve.
Yes.
Now your motivation is the fact that you can do it because you just did. So your new motivation is not the pain. It's I just accomplished this. So now what's next?
Well, for me, what I've noticed with myself, and then I've started doing with my children as well, is that very concept. I think too many times. Maybe it's different in other countries, I don't know, but I know here in America, too many times we get stuck on this idea of like punishment, of like the negative, being motivated by bad stuff, right? I'm motivated because I'm angry. I'm motivated because I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm motivated because you upset me. Now I'm gonna get you back, kind of thing. And I used to think in my life I was in a situation where I thought that's the only thing that can motivate me.
Yeah, it's just not sustainable.
I had to turn my anger into motivation.
But you can motivate positive ways.
And that's what I think that what I learned in my years, and I teach my kids and everything else, is I think that too often we forget that positivity is so much bigger of a motivator. And the example I always use to people to explain to them is if you're trying to train a puppy, you rub their face in it or you smack them or something like that, all it does is teach them to fear your hand. It doesn't teach them to not go on the carpet.
Exactly.
But if you take them outside and every time they do something the right way, you give them a little treat,
There's a
they start
positive
to associate, hey, this
outcome.
is awesome. I like that. Positive reinforcement works so much better. And it works
Yeah,
for...
but that smacking them feels good, and that you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for the dog.
Exactly.
Every time you want to smack the dog, smack yourself.
But that's why
thought,
people
bad
do it.
thought.
It makes them feel good.
Yeah.
It makes
Yes.
them feel good. Like,
And
I got
they,
you.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
put that anger into somebody else
Right,
because
right.
they cannot do
temporary.
the positive
Yeah.
things, so they have to go into the negative.
And that's the thing is the anger being motivated by negative is not sustainable. It
Yeah.
not You can't keep that fire going forever.
No.
At some point, it's going to go. Even if it's like I used to joke all the time with a lot of my favorite like music groups, right? When their first album come out, it's always so great, and then
Yeah.
the second album isn't so good anymore. What's hard to
That pain.
It's hard to be that angry when you got millions of dollars in the bank. You know what I mean? When your anger was your motivation, you're driving around in Mercedes and stuff. You're not so angry anymore. So your music is not going to reflect that. But I think the successful ones find other ways to be motivated. Competition. I'm trying to better myself. I want to achieve this. There's more ways to motivate than just angry.
Like imagine speaking in front of thousands of people with an accent, and English is not my first language, not my third, maybe my fourth, whatever.
Jeez.
But it's being out there. It's hard. People are gonna judge me. People are gonna. Oh my God, what's she saying? Right now, I make mistakes, and I make fun of myself all the time. You have to have a sense of humor
Sure.
and
Right.
sarcasm, of course.
Right.
You have to kind of I'm a human. I make mistakes. English is not my first language.
Right.
Yes, I will say something wrong. Deal with it and laugh about it.
But
Let's
Yeah.
laugh together.
Yeah, I do
part-
understand. Actually, I had to work on it because I had
it's a
somebody
it was a
shame me.
challenge
Actually,
for me.
I had someone shame me. I was doing something, and I used to say Chicago, and to me, Chicago was normal. And then the person totally made me feel like an idiot, and they go Chicago, and just talked about it like, what are you? Where are you from? What's Chicago? And I go, what did I say wrong? I didn't even know I said it wrong.
Right.
She goes, Chicago. I said, oh, it's Chicago? But I felt like such an idiot because English was something. My family. We come from another country, so Chicago is the way you say it.
I will say Chicago too.
Yeah, well,
So
good luck with
Chicago,
it.
I can.
Chicago.
We're gonna be the Chicago team.
Yeah,
Guys.
I'm a Chicano. I'm not a Chicano. I'm a Chicano.
Where are you coming from?
See, I don't have that
different
issue, I
language
guess.
here.
But to me, the way to look at it, and I'm pretty sure you do, and that is, maybe I have the accent, maybe I'm up, and you're gonna, but I'm still talking to thousands of people, and you're not.
Yes.
So obviously I'm doing something
I
right.
put myself there.
Drop the mic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
I
might
have-
drop.
Yeah,
See
take
ya.
the mic. Then.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Well, I just want to prove myself first. Like, am I capable to do that? That's a challenge.
Right.
You know what? And I was on stage and I took a deep breath. I'm like, you know what? Who cares? I'm here. I'm blessed enough to be here. A lot of thousands of millions of women dream to be in my position.
Yep.
Right on.
I'm gonna be me, and it is a challenge. I might might made a mistake. I don't know,
Might.
but it's me. It's who I am, and you take it or leave it. So that's how it's my mentality. And
Let it go.
let it go,
Let it
let it
go.
go.
I've heard that song so many times.
And you have to let it go.
You know, come on with a
Definitely. That
second
is a
one, too.
perfect song right there.
She looks like she could sing it.
Yeah, probably.
Do you sing?
I
as
used
well?
to sing opera, and when I was in my teenage
So you have a
years.
voice as
jeez.
well?
I hope so. We all have a voice, by the way. If I can hear
yeah.
you, we all do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, we know Jesse raps, so now we know she.
Yeah.
she
We got a
Oh,
singer,
okay.
a rapper.
Yeah.
We got the whole.
he
the whole
freestyles and she sings.
There you
go.
go.
I
We're
like
gonna
it.
have a combo right there.
Right,
go.
we're gonna do
New
a
CD coming up.
Exactly, we're doing an album here. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I could do a Lou Reed. That's it. He just talks.
So this year I want to go to India. Who's coming with me?
Oh,
India.
yeah, for real? What do you want to go for?
Well, because of
I had a physician that actually asked me if I wanted to go to
We
India.
had the physicians that wanted us to
Spirituality.
go over there.
Yeah.
Well, let them sponsor. Just kidding.
Well, tell me.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he says. He told us how much
Yeah.
it costs.
Well-
Yeah.
What's that about?
Well, spirituality, Buddhism, it's coming from there.
Yeah.
So
Nepal.
I became very spiritual for the last a year or so.
Right.
And I always wanted to go there. I'm fascinated with the language. I actually can sing in Hindi. I learned. I can just pick
Oh,
up
no.
a language.
Go.
She-
We got minutes.
We
Go.
got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Tujhe dekha to ye jana sanam. Oh, I forgot.
Well, no, just do that line again.
I
Just
couldn't
do that
even
one
do
again.
that.
Dekha to ye jana sanam.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, no. Sanam dekalu mad gayi duriya me yaham yaham. And I forgot again.
That is awesome. Isn't that beautiful, Jesse? That's
crazy.
the real thing, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I cannot believe I forgot the other lyrics.
Wow.
It's just
So
like
you
I
want to
had
go
moment.
do you want to do a spiritual journey, a spiritual
I
walk?
kind of
Is that what you want to do?
Yes,
Walkabout?
I did not really look into what exactly I want to do
You just
there.
wanna go.
I want to go and just explore and see the culture and see, where it all came from. And actually, somebody reached out to me. He's a very well-known actor there, and randomly reached out to me. He said, "You know what? I can see your aura."
Yeah.
And he describes exactly like the way I am.
Wow.
And I'm like, how do you see all that? Like, we never met. He's like, I can read aura, and there's certain people that see certain people. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So, and then somebody else told me that thing, and then somebody else. I'm like, okay, I think I need to go there because too many people
interesting.
telling me things like that.
I'm sure you'll find somebody on Up Live that'd be willing to pay for that.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
yes, we'll hope. We're very hopeful here.
Right on. I think we're running
got
out of
4
time.
minutes, Trin.
We got to do our thanks. We got to do the wrap up. So anything you want to leave our listeners with, man? Any parting thoughts that you want to put out there?
There's so many, but I was actually thinking, like, what am I going to talk today about? But I have so much to talk,
Sure.
and I want to leave so much.
You'll
out
be able
there.
to come back. Don't worry about it.
I hope so.
We're not going anywhere.
I hope so. Be yourself. Look for your happy moment and place. Strive for that. If you are not in the right place right now, know there is a place for you. Just try to find it. Focus on that. Be real to yourself. And I don't know, enjoy life. Enjoy every moment. Like the little things that some people miss. They think about materialistic things. I think about nature, for example. I wake up every day and I have this beautiful view. I have to open the window just to see it every day. Look through the other things that are beautiful. Look at beautiful people, beautiful spirits. Learn something every day. Learn from people. Learn from experiences. And, just live your life as now, like that book says, now. And I was trying to do that even before reading that book. And, now is the moment. I like that, what I keep.
That's right. The Now Matters More Foundation.
Now is the moment, and, you don't know what's going to happen the next minute and next hour. So we have to embrace ourselves, embrace that moment, embrace everything that's happening around you. Be grateful for people in your life. Be grateful for opportunities. Embrace opportunities. Go for them. Don't say no. Say it more yes. That no, I guess it's something dangerous and doesn't make sense. Obviously, no.
No. I like the way you're going. Only my daughter should say no to everything.
Exactly.
Say yes. I mean, and just enjoy it. And life is short. We live on this planet, and my goal is to leave something behind, and I want to help as many people as I can. I want to coach in a different level, coaching a lot of people, dig deep in their hearts and find their whys and their don'ts and why not. Like, I'm very curious about finding things in people and learn from them and from their experiences.
You're a good student of life.
I love it,
Tatiana.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
All right, so we've reached that point, man. We're almost done. Let me thank the sponsors. Get that out of the way so we can keep our lights on, make them happy. Some fantastic sponsors.
Better make
we got.
them happy.
Exactly. We
Sell
have
some soap, Trinity.
That's right. Sell the soap. First and foremost, we got Retreat Behavioral Health, another fantastic facility. They got a good one we were just at recently in West Palm. Great people doing great things. Of course, you got Journey Pure. Another great relationship with them. Can't wait to see them all in our golf tournament coming up soon. I'm looking forward to see Patrick. We can talk about Notre Dame a little bit. I like it. Then we got the Orange County Drug Free Coalition's always fantastic. Love going there and seeing all the people. Miss Carol that she went to the mayor's office, but still love the Orange County Drug Free Coalition. And then last but not least, we have the Now Matters More Foundation. We help individuals navigate the drug and alcohol world, if you will. If you need help, treatment, check us out at nowmattersmore.org. You can donate to us. You can see what we're all about. And you can call 1-833-NOW-MATTERS. That's 833-NOW-MATTERS, and we will help you get what you need. So, man, there's so much to talk about. So many things to wrap up, but I'm going to keep it to 3, obviously. I always like to give you an action tip, if you will. We talked about some great things, but what do you actually do? How do I implement these things? So, oddly enough, the 3 things that I came up with are going to echo a lot of what she said. The first one I'm going to say is find your passion. You got to find out what it is that makes you tick, what it is that you truly, truly want. Not what you like, but what you want, what you need, what you breathe, what you eat, what you sleep. Whatever your passion is, you got to be honest with yourself what that is, and you got to find it. The second one is you got to focus on your wins. Don't spend so much time focusing on what went wrong or what you can't do. Focus on your wins. Focus on the things that you can build upon. And then lastly, the third one is learn from your losses. You're going to have the losses, and even though you're focusing on the wins, the losses that you do take, that you're going to take inevitably, learn from them. Figure out what you could do differently next time so that same loss doesn't rear its ugly head. I think that's all we got. Now that we have, thank you so much, Tatiana, for coming. You were fantastic. I knew you were going to be, so I'm glad you were here. Jesse, thanks for coming back, brother. And now that you know better, do better. Peace. Are you still here? What are you doing? I told you, go do better.